What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna be getting the transmission mount installed. Our parts pile is getting kind of small, so that means we're getting real close to firing this thing up and driving it around. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited. Being a 5-speed swap, it uses the same mounting location. This bracket is fine, however the mounting hole is in the wrong spot. So I'm gonna tighten up all the other mounts holding the engine and transmission and make sure that the engine is level. I'm going to jack it up. If it's sagging a little bit, I'll jack it up until it's level. During that process, I'm going to slip in the motor mount here. Sometimes it's a 2-piece motor mount, so if you do it piece at a time, it's a little easier. So here's the whole mount. I'm going to split it apart. You can split this in half, and then it's easier, way easier to get in. But we'll slip that mount in there, and then align it, and then we basically have to eyeball where this hole is going to be. It's going to be somewhere like right around here. But we'll drill that through, and then there's a nut on the back side here. I'm going to bust that off, and then hopefully be able to reuse that on the other side. Alright, so take this part of the bracket, and I'm gonna try and sneak it in there, just like so. Okay, that's in the right spot. And now, take this side of the bracket, there you go. Alright, and now if you look, you can see that lined up. So those will fit. It's right in the middle here, and then I'll show you once I jack everything up and get the other mounts in, because they're all still loose right now to get this guy in there, just for extra room, and then it goes right in. And now we'll tighten up the rest of the mounts, and I'll show you what it looks like here, and then we'll drill our hole. But while I was leaning in here, my face was like right here, and remember when the engine was going up and down RPMs? Well, I think we found our little vacuum leak right here. So, but yeah, I'm stoked. I think we just found the vacuum leak. Okay, so right now we've got the engine is completely level. I put a level on the top of the valve cover, and all the motor mount bolts are tight, and then I basically just jacked up the motor on this side until it was level. And now I am beginning my hole right here. Gonna do a little pilot hole to see where we're at. Let me see, get better light in there. So trying to get as dead center as I can, and we're going to start drilling our hole there to get this lined up. Oh, by the way, if you're doing this at home, the bottom of the bracket down there, on the receiving end of the transmission, the holes are slotted, and you're going to want to leave those loose and slide the bracket as far to the left as possible so that you can get this mounting hole away from the original hole here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this shut, and then we're going to paint it. But if you don't want to do that, you want to get this as far over to the left as possible so that it has as much meat in between there as possible to hold it. You can see right there where the bolt used to be on the left, and I slid the bracket to the left, so now it's as far over as possible. There it is. See how close that is? There's like I want to say like 1/8 of an inch right there, but we got the first bolt hole through, So now I'm going to get a longer drill bit and try and center through that to start a pilot. And then I'm going to have to take this mount out to get that other side drilled perfectly. Almost all the way through the other side, and then this was the factory nut that is tack welded to the back of the mount. I just put my big breaker bar on there, snapped it off, and we're going to reuse it in the new location. It's pretty good. And then if you guys don't have a super long drill bit like I don't, mine almost made it. What I did was I doubled up some extensions on my stepper bit, and that made it possible. So, all right, let's get it mounted. Let's check it out. So there's the hole. The backside was kind of messy. It's a little hard to see because of that ear right there. But reused that same bolt that we snapped off, or the nut that we snapped off, and reused it, and it's good. I'm going to recheck this with the level, and then I'll let you know if it's good or not. I use an app on my phone, so. Okay, so it was off by like 0.3, 0.4 of a degree, which I'm okay with. It said 0.4. So now the tricky part, I'm going to have to take the mount back out and then weld the hole closed, grind it down, and then paint it back up. We're going to Home Depot. We're gonna go grab a flap disc so that we can sand down the weld, get it smooth, and then paint it black. I'm about to weld that thing up, but I didn't have, my mask is broken and it won't recharge. So I went and my buddy let me borrow his helmet. We just got back. I was able to find my Harbor Freight angle grinder. I got one of these discs. I'm pretty sure it's gonna fit. Hopefully it does. If not, I've also got one of these that fits into a drill chuck. I'm hoping the big one works. So gonna mess with that, and then gonna bust out the welder here. Also, again, Chicago Electric, Harbor Freight, bust that thing out, get that going, get the air compressor going if we need it. Pull that top mount out, and let's weld that sucker up. Let's go. Sorry. I had to use both of the tools. Damn it! Alright. Ended up using both. I used the big one, and then I also had to use the small one because it was kind of hard to get in here. But we got them scuffed up, so now I'm going to bust out the welder, get that welded up. And we're there. So the front one is good for me. I'm gonna paint it black, filled the hole. The rear one's gonna be a little trickier, and then we're good. There we go. I just did a first coat of paint, filled up both the holes, grinded them back, good to go. Yeah, I didn't have color match paint, but just went with the black, and it should be okay. Yeah, so after that dries, gonna put this back together, and then it'll be holding itself under its own mounts. Shift linkage left, the slave cylinder down there. I need to run the clutch line, the fluid line, and then the master cylinder will go down in here, and the clutch pedal on the other side, and the reverse switch, we'll wire that to one of these older automatic solenoid switches that we're not going to use. We'll reuse that wire, I'll go over that when we get there. And shift cables. I can't remember if I said that. Shift cables. But yeah, the shift cables will go from underneath and pop up into the cabin here. Lovely sirens. So yeah, so we just drill a couple more holes on the firewall on this side, and then don't have to drill any holes for the shifter. That'll just pop right in, and good to go. Or wiring, there's like 3 wires that I gotta do. After we wire it, then we can fire it up, get the rest of the fluids changed, and go test drive. So we are really close, guys, to test driving this thing. I know it sounds like a lot over when I say it out loud, but I mean, I'm spending like maybe 2 hours a day at a time on this thing, maybe 3 hours, and I'm thinking a couple more days and it should be running, and we'll go test drive it. So stay tuned, boys. It's getting epic. It's gonna be sweet. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. Just wanted to share about staying faithful, because I'm human just like you guys, and staying faithful is a tricky thing to do when times get rough and things just aren't going your way no matter what you're trying to do. I get it, man. I've been in that boat many times. So one trick that I do when Satan starts to get in my head and starts to get me down and I'm beating myself up about everything, like the main thing I do is I remind myself that the Bible says God has already won this fight. He already knows what's going to happen in the end. He already won, and Satan gets hellbound and burns forever. So that helps me, that helps remind me that, you know, even though I'm going through some really sticky stuff right now, some really crappy, you know, even when I'm so down and depressed or whatever, it hits me in like a wave, I try and remind myself, you know, God already won all of this. He already knows I'm going to go through where I'm at right now. So if he knows that and it's part of the plan, then I have nothing to worry about. And that also makes me remember that I need to fear nothing but God himself. Only fear God's wrath. Satan has no grip on me. If you follow Jesus and you keep God in your heart, you are going to be surrounded by the army of God, and nothing can take you. Stuff might attack you, but nothing will take you, because you are already his. You are God's child. So that's it. Staying faithful. Remind yourself God already won, and it'll get easier. Anyways, God bless. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want to support me, buy some of my merch on my website. If you're into RC Drift, I've got some 3D prints, some scale 3D prints for RC Drift. Check that out. It's on the website. But anyways, God bless you guys, and have a great day.